Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So my name's Kurt Shacker, and I'm with Evrythng, and very simply, we have a point of view that every physical device in the world should be connected or can be connected to the web, and we think there's a value proposition behind every one of those situations. And I'm going to show you a few examples of how that's true, but fundamentally what we do is provide a platform for connecting all sorts of things to the web, aggregating data from those devices into that platform, and allowing the companies that make those devices drive a number of value propositions around that, IoT-related value propositions. This is another way to look at it. So when most people think about IoT, they think about devices with microprocessors and radios and so forth, and those are the more well-known use cases, the iconic connected refrigerator. But our view is that anything can be connected and value-driven around all kinds of devices that don't have that level of intelligence. So for example, things with QR codes or RFID tags, we think there's some great value propositions with those kinds of products as well. And so what we do is we give all of those physical things a URL. They literally have a web address, and by becoming a web object, they can participate in that whole vast ecosystem of the web. So what are the use cases? Well, they tend to fall into these categories. So if you look across the board at the different companies, this is obviously a huge range of products in different categories and industries and verticals. But ultimately, we believe the value propositions tend to fall in one or more of these sort of general areas, I would say. And depending on who we're talking to and what they're building, the conversations tend to orient around these types of things that those companies are interested in achieving. In terms of the platform itself, the big thing is scalability. We're going to hit a massive level of scale with IoT that we've never contemplated before. It'll be exponentially more than anything we've ever dealt with. Today, our platform is managing over 400 million unique identities. And just if you think about that from a computer science perspective, that's a lot of stuff, right? And the fact that all of those things are connected to our platform does not give us any break on the SLA. So we still have to process interactions in under a second. We actually typically do under a tenth of a second. We still have to implement all the security and privacy policy. We still have to meet our reliability obligations. All of that has to happen at scale. It's not a small computer science trick. A few quick examples, and I'll wrap up. One is IHome. You may know this brand because of their bedside monitors. If you've ever stayed in a hotel in the world, almost surely have seen these things because they sit on your nightstand next to you. They're doing a whole line of IoT-connected products now, starting with smart plugs. They've got a very exciting line of things coming out. These are going off the shelves as fast as they can make them. And this has become a whole new category for them and doing extremely well. Wi-Fi connected smart plug. Very simple, but a very powerful use case and very generalizable. Second example I'll offer is CocaCola. This might look strange to you, but CocaCola actually uses our technology to connect cans of Coke to the web, give them a web address, and drive interactions with their customers. I'm running out of time, so I will not go into detail about how they do that. You may want to ask. And the third example I'll offer, this is kind of a cocktail, the mix of the last two slides, right? But this is whiskey. They also want to engage their customers, but for a different purpose, right? One of the big business problems these guys have, this is Diageo, who owns the Johnnie Walker label. This is a $400 bottle of whiskey. It gets counterfeited all over the world. I can't tell you how much money that costs them, but it's a lot of money. So what they do is they use printed electronics that are embedded into the label of the bottle, giving an opportunity to scan that device or scan that bottle and determine whether it's authentic or not and whether it's being sold in a part of the world that it's legal to sell it in, because the other issue related to that is gray market or parallel trading. So that's another real business problem. I'll wrap up by saying we're an A-round funded company. Cisco and Samsung are two of our strategic investors, and we are in the middle, or actually toward the latter stages of closing a B round right now. Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit about your business model?
Sure. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, it's a platform as a service, and so people pay us a service fee for connecting devices to our platform. Very, very simple. And so that obviously makes us very, very interested in large companies that ship lots of things. But it also puts the onus on us to ensure that those things actually reach scale, right? So we're very much joined at the hip with our customers. If they don't ship a lot of connected things, then we don't make any money. So, we're in it to the same end that they are. Other questions I can answer? All right. Well, thank you very much.
One more.
I'm sorry.
Really cool stuff, Kurt. So the
Thank you.
Coke can example is really fascinating.
Yeah.
Help me understand. So you mentioned you have all these nodes, and I imagine millions and millions of cans. How do I think about that in terms of you just have so many nodes out there that's essentially going away, as people finish drinking their Coke?
Well, right. So there are what we call persistently connected devices, which would be like a smart plug. It's always on. It's always pinging, et cetera. Cans of Coke, their life as a connected device doesn't last very long, about the time it takes to drink a can of Coke. But the point for Coca-Cola is, who is it that's drinking that Coke? They've always been disintermediated from their customers through all the channels, right? So that's why they have to run these massive, million-dollar, billion-dollar ad campaigns, because they don't know who's drinking Coke. A lot of that ad spend is wasted on people like me who don't happen to drink Coca-Cola products, right? So, but if it turns out, if you're holding a can of Coke in your hand, pretty good chance that you're a Coke drinker, right? So if they can engage you through some type of labeling on the can and get you to scan that can of Coke, they collect information about what the product is, but they also collect information with your permission about you. That gets, obviously aggregated into the web, and then, they return a value proposition, so there's a fair exchange there. And now they know who's drinking Coke, and that's the holy grail for any of these consumer companies.
Thank you, Kurt.
Sure. All right, thanks everybody.